Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome. Today is the day that we officially take off our hard hats. I'm Herman Bontrager, the chair of the Clinic for Special Children Board of Directors and chair of the Keeping the Promise, Building Hope Capital Campaign. This is a very special day for the clinic. On April 4, 2023, we were right here, very close by, for the groundbreaking, and now we are celebrating the opening of our new facility. Just a little check. How many of you picked up trees at that groundbreaking and planted them? I see some hands. I talked with at least one party, and ours are growing very healthily, and somebody else's. Are your trees growing? Thriving, great. That's all a good sign. I guess we won't comment on whether that's the trees cause a problem or whatever. You are all here because you have had a major hand in making this wonderful facility and property a reality. Thank you for making the effort to be here today. Since the clinic's very beginnings, 35 years ago, when Dr. Holmes and Caroline Morton had the vision and the courage to start this work, we've been here to serve the most vulnerable among us, children and adults facing rare genetic disorders. Today, children with once life-limiting disorders are now growing into healthy adults. New treatments are on the horizon for many disorders, and the Mennonite and Amish community continues to grow. This building represents the clinic's promise to care for children as they age, the promise to seek the promise of life-giving therapies, and to be here for families when they need us. With the new facility, our collaborative team can care for more families, discover new therapies and testing capabilities, and most of all, be a place of comfort, friendship, and hope for generations to come. This project has been many years in the making, and it's been remarkable to witness so many people come together to make it a reality. Each square foot of this building has been thoughtfully designed with families in mind and how we can better serve them. We've expanded to 12 exam rooms, including dedicated space for visiting specialists. And for the first time, our genetics laboratory is integrated into one space on one floor to house our scientists and state-of-the-art equipment. And to the joy of many children, we now have a fully accessible playground to greet them at their entrance, or at our entrance. These are just a few of the many design features that will allow us to provide better care for generations to come. Our goal was to create a new home that is welcoming and feels familiar, surrounded by farmland. I think we achieved that. A project like this takes a lot of planning and coordination, and I want to acknowledge and thank the technical people that helped us. EK3 Design Architects, ML Saxinger and Associates for their careful and creative architectural and engineering services. And we are deeply grateful to Hoover Building Specialists, our general contractor, and they're well represented here today, and we're so thankful that you came. We're grateful to you for the great job in keeping the project on schedule, maybe even ahead of schedule and within budget, and especially for your flexibility in working with our gift-in-kind coordinator and the literally hundreds of volunteer laborers. Jacob Petersheim and Glenn Zimmerman, leaders of our building committee, did a tremendous job overseeing it all. Last and maybe most importantly, I want to acknowledge the essential role of our whole team of employees in designing this beautiful and functional facility, and doing it in a way that perpetuates our cultural tradition. If you have a chance, ask some of the employees about their experiences building mock-ups with cardboard and so on of what exam rooms should look like, etc. And finally, I want to recognize the truly exceptional leadership of Adam Heaps in facilitating participation by our whole employee team and in overseeing this whole project. Thank you to all of you. I'm deeply grateful and humbled that over 2,800 supporters have contributed funds and hundreds more donated labor and materials to this project to date. As of today, we've received gifts totaling over $11.7 million, leaving us with about $1.5 million to raise by the end of this calendar year. This campaign has been a success because of the diligent work of our campaign consultants and of our capital campaign committee and honorary committee members and our development staff, who invited so many people to join in this labor of love. Thank you. And I thank you who are gathered here today and all the others who have gotten us to this point. And thank you to all who might be able to help us get the rest of the way. Actually, one person already told me today, I'm going to help send you something soon to help you the rest of the way. Thank you. So again, to all of you, thank you for joining this momentous occasion in the clinic's history. But before we go further, we want to hear from the Rodriguez family, who will remind us why this clinic exists. So I invite the Rodriguez family to say a few words about their journey with the clinic.
I'm a little nervous, so excuse me. All right. Thank you for inviting us today to share in this very special occasion. We are the Rodriguez family, my husband Walter, our little jumping bean Eric, and I'm Alicia. We're from New York, not New York. CSC holds a special place in our hearts. When we arrived to the clinic almost 5 years ago, we were overwhelmed parents, not knowing what to expect, nervous, completely lost in our son's diagnosis of glutaric acidemia. It was a trying time for our family. My husband was diagnosed with his second bout of cancer and undergoing chemo. Eric, born at only 31 weeks, and then his diagnosis came to us a week later in the ICU. We were left devastated, holding each other sobbing in the room as the nurse drew a curtain around us for privacy. It was overwhelming. We were referred to a brilliant geneticist who tried to guide us in our journey with Eric's disease. But this geneticist unfortunately got in the way, but his genius unfortunately got in the way of his compassion. Our visit to his office were a whirlwind of tests and advice and labs. We would arrive dreading there every time. We would leave hopeless and more confused before each time. What would we do? How do we manage this diagnosis? What can we expect of our little son? My husband dove headlong into his laptop, digging for information. We just weren't getting to this point. We were getting to this point. He was voracious reading and trying to understand the technical data of all these studies. He was digging for more of hope than information. He wanted to find hope for Eric, a chance if only a glimmer, that he would make this journey safely with some kind of shot at a full and happy life. In his research, he would read long and complex papers from doctors from all over the world. The research of glutaric aciduria came in pieces, it seemed, from here and there, and varied results from what was written was frightening. But there were footnotes from all these articles listing the doctors whose research had been used to write the papers, and two names kept coming up, Dr. Morton and Dr. Strauss. It seemed they had managed to turn the expectation of this disease in a remarkable way that seemed almost miraculous. Do we want to drive 4 hours for this visit? It's a long drive. To the clinic. He asked me one night. The answer came without hesitation to just go. We had no hope and no expectations as we packed for the overnight trip to see Dr. Vincent Carson at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning. We returned into what seemed like a mistake, we turned left into what seemed like a mistake on the GPS onto a tiny road cut into a farm field, into a cluster of trees with no signs of an actual building. We slowed down a bit, wondering if we entered the wrong address. It was a cluster of trees and farmers driving a team of horses. It was friendly and waved. He was friendly and he waved to us. I'm so sorry, I'm a little nervous. And we figured we'd keep driving, but we found it, the clinic in a cornfield. From the minute we walked in, I knew in my heart that we had come to a special place. We felt that we had turned the tide for Eric. From the moment we walked in, we felt hope. For the first time in 6 months of a burden and fear and confusion, we had hope. Dr. Carson, Dr. Carson, in Dr. Carson's unique easy manner and style of speaking, took 3 hours to explain the terms we would grasp and we would deal with, and how we were not only to manage this thing, but how we were going to turn the tables on it and win. We were going to win. Eric is 5.5 now. He is healthy and strong and vibrant. He graduated from kindergarten 2 weeks ago and is on his way to first grade in the fall. He runs us ragged daily, and he's our daily reminder that God is gracious and good. The clinic, this building, isn't a set of walls. This clinic has never been a building. The clinic manifests hope where there isn't any. The clinic is comprised not of mortar and brick, but the individuals whose brilliance is matched only by grace and compassion and love for who they help every single day. You don't even have to come to Lancaster to experience this special place. You see, these individuals won't be held in by walls. They go out from here and are known in faraway places on other continents for endless love for those who seek help. You should know that these men and women bring their brilliance and passion to turn the tide, wherever they set foot. This place is just a building to the eye, but it is a beating heart within. It has heart. My husband and I just want to say thank you for helping us, for leading Eric into a life of hope and purpose. In Spanish, hope is esperanza. Cada día, every day, tenemos esperanza. We have hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the Rodriguez family for sharing your experience. It's just a reminder of what happens here at the clinic. And I can say pretty confidently for everybody here at the clinic, thank you for letting us be a small part of that journey. This is the second time I think that I've been on the agenda to speak after your family, and I feel like I should have learned my lesson the first time, because I don't know how much more I can add to what was already said, but I'll still share a few thoughts regardless. My name's Adam Heaps. I'm the executive director here at the clinic, and the vision for this building project was conceived a number of years ago. We didn't know the details of where it would be or what it would look like, but we knew the need for the clinic's innovative and essential services was increasing while the walls of our previous facility were not. While we worked together to fill in these important details, an important question nagged the back of my mind. Would the supporters of the clinic recognize the need and join the vision? Would enough donors, craftsmen, and volunteers be willing to contribute their time, talents, and resources to make it a reality? As evidenced by the beautiful building here, I think the answer was yes. In many instances, these donors, craftsmen, and volunteers went beyond what was asked of them in order to create a comforting and inspiring environment for every family that walks through the clinic's doors. As you can imagine, this building did not assemble itself. It required the support of many people helping in the ways they are able. And as the saying goes, many hands make light work. Everyone here today, and many others that are not, have had some hand in helping to make this project a reality. And to all of you, I offer my sincere thank you. One of the questions I received a couple of times during the building process was, so what's the clinic actually do here? And sometimes I got that question from folks that have been working with us for years, so we might need to work on our marketing. I'll talk to Kelly about that. In some ways, it's a pretty simple, easy question to answer. I usually explain we're a doctor's office for children and adults with complex care needs that has a lab and does research. Sometimes I say we provide clinical, laboratory, and research services to children and adults with genetic disorders, primarily from the plain communities. Occasionally, I say we work to improve the quality of life for families with genetic or other complex disorders. All those answers are correct, but it doesn't fully explain what we do here. So what do we do here? We walk alongside families that have to make important decisions relating to some of the most daunting medical challenges. We explore the cause of unknown medical conditions using advanced medicine and scientific techniques. We translate the most recent advances in science and medicine into benefit for individuals and families. Sometimes we can medically help, sometimes we can improve quality of life, sometimes we can only empathize. But we can always care and we can always try to do better, and that's what we do here. But ultimately, what is the clinic? I mean, it is a building, it is a staff, it is a board, it is patients, it is a community, but it's also an idea, and it is a vision, and it is many things to many people. Recently, Julia Martin, our development associate, and I met with a supporter of the clinic, a 94-year-old gentleman and his wife. And as we went to leave, he asked if he could say a prayer. During that prayer, he said to him, "The clinic is a place where love and know-how come together." I thought that was a beautiful sentiment, but I would take it one step further. To me, at the end of the day, what the clinic does is combine love and knowledge to create good. And I just want to say thank you to everybody here today for being a part of that love that helps to create good in the world. Thank you. So we're now going to be moving on to the main reason that I know all of you came here today, which is to watch somebody cut a piece of ribbon with a big pair of scissors, and also move inside where there's air conditioning. So we would obviously love to invite all the clinic families to be a part of this process, but as you can imagine, with 1,700 plus active patients, it's not a reality. So instead, we'd like to invite a few special guests to help with the process. First, you've already heard from him, but I'd like to invite Herman Bontrager to come up. He said that he served as the clinic's board chair, but I would just like to say that he's been doing that job as a volunteer for over 10 years. And as the chair of the campaign, I personally had the opportunity to work closely with Herman, and during that time, I have a real deep appreciation for his commitment to the clinic and for all the time and effort he's put in as a volunteer. So Herman will be helping to hold the ribbon. Next, I'd like to invite the Rodriguez family to come back up. You've heard from earlier and witnessed the ribbon cutting. Your story is an exceptional example of your family's commitment to your son. and how the clinic can provide a knowledgeable service that makes a difference in a family's life. Next, I'd like to invite Kirkland Sensenig and his family, if they'd like to come up, to join. The Sensenig family participated in an innovative clinical trial that we did in partnership with pharmaceutical partners and Penn Medicine Lancaster General Hospital. While there's been many innovations at the clinic over the years, recently, the promise of new strategies and medicines for treating otherwise untreatable disorders has been an incredible and exciting development. Next, I'd like to invite Marlene Zimmerman to come up. Marlene is a special patient here because she has been a patient for the clinic basically since it started, over 35 years ago. She and her family are a reminder that patient care does not end when somebody turns 18. And providing support
No, that's not. I
that
don't care, and I don't care what other people say because I experienced a lot in my life and nobody else knows.
I believe that.
And there's days that I go home crying.
Well, I believe that.
I shed tears many of times.
Well, hopefully you had some solace in what we were able to provide for you. But helping the community requires helping people of all ages. And it's also special because Marlene cut the ribbon for the clinic's original building in the early 90s. And so we're so glad to have her and her family here today. And last but not least, I'd like to invite Donna Robinson to come up and help Marlene if she needs any help. Donna started as a nurse practitioner at the clinic in 1995 and therefore has worked at the clinic for nearly 30 years.
And nobody ain't gonna rob Dr. Carson, Kevin Strauss, and Don and my good old friend Christine.
Absolutely. Well, let's